morning.
Welcome to Getting the Scoop on Senior Living Communities. We are very excited that you're here today, and we're going to, when you leave today, you're going to know a heck of a lot more than when you walked in the door. So I'm Nancy Puder. I am the founder of Seacoast Seniors. How many of you are here for the first time? Oh, quite a few of you. Okay, how many have been here more than 2 times? How many have been here 5 times? How many have been here 10 times? Wow. Okay, we really appreciate you, and we really depend on word of mouth because we don't charge you anything for these seminars. We would like to thank our sponsors. I'm sorry I had them on the screen a little while ago, but Villages of Slow, SLG Senior Care, Miles at Santa Maria Terrace. Did I miss anybody? And Annie Crivello with Tony Crivello Insurance is at the desk. By the way, as you know, we're all in the middle of open enrollment for Medicare. Annie is here today. If you wanted to set up an appointment with her to review your Medicare, I highly recommend it. Okay? So, Seacoast Seniors was founded 7 years ago by myself as a result of continually walking in to people's homes as a real estate broker and finding complete chaos. Mom or dad had taken a fall, or worse, had a dementia diagnosis, and the kids had converged over the weekend from all different parts of the state or country to plan mom or dad's life that weekend before they went home on Monday. And so I was always the last person to call as the realtor, because what else is a realtor good for, right? So by the time I walked in to list the house, they had made so many bad decisions because they had gone straight to Google, and they were already fighting. They were talking about mom and dad as if they were dead already, even though they were sitting there right in the chair. And this happened to me 5 or 6 times a year. I sell a lot of real estate, and so, the numbers are probably higher than that. And I used to grumble all the time, where the heck are the people to help these people, for goodness sake? And so the family would leave on Sunday evening and say, okay, mom will be there in the armchair. She never really gets up except to go to the bathroom. And when you have an offer on the house, give us a call. And I'm like, really? So I would do my best to, be a friend to my little older adult, and who had just given up all control to the kids. And I'd get the house sold, and I'd move on. I'd go back to my job, do what I do best, and then it would happen again. So about 7 years ago, I was doing my usual mumble grumble, and a little voice said to me, "You need to do something." And I literally laughed out loud. I thought, what in the world could I do? I've been selling real estate since I was 28 years old, and honest to goodness, I don't know how to do anything else. And so the little voice wouldn't go away, though. And on the 3rd day, I finally sat down and started doing some research, found an outfit in Oklahoma City who I went through a 6-month certification course, and when I came out of it with my certificate, I planned my first workshop. And now 7 years later, we do these fairly regularly every 4 to 6 weeks. Every once in a while I take a little break, but It's just been wonderful, you know. So my day job is as a real estate broker. We do ask people that if you like what I do and you are thinking about selling your house, we'd really appreciate if you'd consider giving us a call. But there will be no sales pitch today or ever in our workshops, so you can feel safe here. So our mission at Seacoast Seniors, and this is the last thing I'm going to say about this, is to educate, equip, and empower older adults and their families so that they make knowledge-driven versus crises-driven decisions when the crisis happens. How many of you know that it's just a matter of time before the crisis happens? Okay, that's why you're here today. That's why I'm here today, so that at the very least, you could say to the kids while they're taking you to the hospital, call Nancy. Call Nancy Puder at Seacoast Seniors. She'll help you. She'll direct you. She'll connect you with good people that she knows that she would refer to her own family. Because if you don't do that, more likely than not, they're going to go to Google and it's going to be a roll of the dice on, what happens. So I've invited representatives from 4 wonderful local senior communities today, and they're going to each of you share what makes their communities unique, but also what senior living is really all about. And they're going to answer your questions. We will have a Q&A at the end of the workshop, so please hold your questions until then. And in a few minutes, we're going to ask them to briefly introduce themselves and then ask them some questions so you can hear directly from each community. Okay, well, welcome back to Getting the Scoop on Senior Living Communities. We have representatives from 4 outstanding senior living communities here today. From the left, we have Susan Stewart from the Villages of Slough, then Michael Easby from Merrill Gardens, Miles Bloom from Santa Maria Terrace, and April McClasty from Wyndham Residence. So we have a wonderful array of professionals here today to share with you what you came to learn. So let's get right into it. We're going to start by asking Susan, and then so on down, to give us a quick overview, share your name and your community and what you feel makes your community special.
Thanks, Nancy. I'm Susan Stewart. I am a marketing person at the Villages of San Luis Obispo. The Villages is a collection of 4 buildings. 2 of them are independent, the Palms and the Oaks. And by independent, I mean that you need no physical support or mental support right now. But you might benefit from not having to cook anymore or drive anymore or do your own housekeeping. We provide a lot of wonderful services, but no hands-on care in independent living. 3rd building is assisted living. It's called Garden Creek, and that's for folks who need quite a bit more support. And then we also have a memory care community called Sydney Creek. So those are the 4 buildings that make up our company, and I'm happy to give you more details later. But I think the thing that makes us stand out as being very unique is many things, but mostly the food. The food is amazing. We've got a reputation for having wonderful, wonderful meals. Our life enrichment director is also really good, and we'll get into a little bit more of that later, but it is very much, it's been my sort of home away from home for 15 years now. It's a great company.
Thank you, Susan. Michael.
Hi, good morning. My name is Michael Easby. I'm the administrator at Merrill Gardens in Santa Maria. Merrill Gardens is just under 250 units for seniors to live in Santa Maria. It's situated in a gated area that is about 17 acres, 2 high-rise, 3-story assisted living buildings. The perimeter is lined with 30 independent cottages, and then we have 3 memory care homes in one corner of the community as well. The assisted living buildings are largely independent as well. You can be independent in the assisted living community, and the majority of our people are. So we have all three of those levels of care. I think what makes us unique is that we have those cottages. That's an unusual situation in senior living communities, especially in California. So those cottages are kind of like a 55 plus community. It's not a licensed part of our community. We just rent them, whereas our assisted living and our memory care are licensed portions of our community. So that's unusual.
But they can still use the dining facilities.
They can, yeah.
Okay.
Hey everybody, my name is Miles Blum. I work at Santa Maria Terrace. I'm the marketing director there. We are right down the street from Merrill Gardens, right there in Santa Maria. What makes us kind of unique is that we're just one building put together. So we have a blend of people, right? We have independent, assisted, memory care, and hospice, but we don't have the locked memory care
A little
community.
louder and
Oh.
speak in.
Can you hear me now? Okay. Well, anyways, we are a unique blend of independent living, assisted living, and some dementia care and hospice, all wrapped into one. And so you don't have to go to another part of the building. It's all, you can age in place, and that's what we preach. And so right there on Main Street, we're about 100 units. So
Thank you, Miles. April.
Hi, my name is April McClaskey, and I come from Wyndham Residence. I'm the activities director. I've been there for almost 8 years. What makes our community stand apart from everywhere else is that we are a smaller setting. We do have independent and assisted living, and we also do age them in place. We are centrally located in a really nice neighborhood. We have a loving staff, a wonderful activities program, and just longevity with our staff also.
Thank you, April.
In Arroyo Grande.
In Arroyo Grande on Elm Street. So they're right in the center of town. So all of you pretty much touched lightly on the levels of care that you offer, but let's go ahead and reiterate that. April, would you like to start?
Yes, so our residents, we have 3 different levels of care. We have completely independent. We have a second level where you might need some just like maybe standby shower, compression socks, and then we have our third level where we do everything for you, whether it's bathing, dressing, toileting, transportation to and from, dining activities, etc.
So yours is independent and assisted living,
Yes.
but no memory care,
No
correct?
memory care.
Okay, great.
Wyndham Residence. Yes, on Elm Street in Arroyo Grande.
Okay, and you know, if you need numbers and help after the workshop, you can call me anytime. I can get all this information to you also. Miles?
okay, so kind of what I was just saying, we have a blend. There's about 90 residents right now. I would say about 50% are independent, but there's tiers to that. So sometimes someone can be considered independent, but we're doing their medications for them, right? So it's not, theoretically, it's not completely independent, but we are taking care of their medications, right? And so that would be an assisted living resident. But there's like a blend of those people, the people that need more care, and then you go into the dementia diagnosis residents. There's MCI, mild cognitive impairment, and then there's MCD, major neurocognitive disorder. MND. Anyways, what it is we have to kind of figure out where do you fall on this, assessment? Can you come to our community, and is our community even equipped to take care of your needs? There are times where the answer is no, you can't move to Santa Maria Terrace. You need to go to a place that has a memory care, like Merrill or the Villages. But if you also have early onset Alzheimer's, you could potentially pass the assessment and live in a building with independent people, but also have that diagnosis. And so that's kind of the different levels. And you can stay in the same room the entire time. So if you move in independent and you fall and you go to the hospital, you come back, we need to do your meds, you're okay. If you get a dementia diagnosis and you pass the assessment, You could stay in your room, stay at Santa Maria Terrace. And so, hopefully through the end of your life, that's always the goal. And we don't want to have you moving around too much. But other than that, we do a lot of reassessments, right? We have to make sure everyone is how they're every 6 months. We reassess every resident. Just yesterday, I had a couple tours. A person came in by themselves, drove themselves, 75 years old. And then I had another gentleman that came in with the family, in a wheelchair, and they're looking for a place that will accept him with his dementia diagnosis. We also work very heavily with the VA. A lot of veterans are at our community, so that's something I'm really proud of to work with, because that helps financially a lot of the times, a lot of the veterans. So that's all I have.
I had a client move into Santa Maria Terrace, last year, and I went to visit him about a week after he had moved in, and they already had his picture up on the wall with all the veterans, which I thought was so sweet. They really do go out of their way to honor the veterans. Another unique thing about Santa Maria Terrace, like Miles was saying, is that everybody's together. You have your independent, your assisted, and your memory care all together. And it works. It's a whole different setup. And each one of these communities has the perfect answer for the right person. So that's why it's important that you do a little bit of shopping around. Questions are at the end, at the Q&A period. So, okay, and Michael.
Yeah, so we have, when people say all three levels of care, they're referring to often, they could be referring to two different things, so I just want to clear that up. We're talking about independent assisted living and memory care, but sometimes people are talking about independent assisted living and skilled nursing. We don't offer skilled nursing. Can I speak for all of us at any of our communities? Yes. So we have independent assisted living and memory care at Merrill Gardens. As I said, we have a separate version of independent care in our cottages, which is non-licensed. So all of these terms carry weight with the licensing agency that oversees all of our communities. That's community care licensing, part of Department of Social Services. There's a lot of things that come with these terms, what we have to provide, and et cetera. So it's just important to point that out, that assisted living means something more than just we assist people with living. It means a lot to the state of California also. So independent in the cottages really just means people are renting homes from us, and independent in assisted living means that we have to verify it on a regular basis. So we're verifying that those people are truly independent in their living, whereas the cottages, it's completely hands off. And then our memory care is an enclosed community. I like to use the term secured. It's not technically locked, because if you push long enough on a door, it will open. So that is just to keep people safe who may not know where they are all the time. And so those are the three levels. I think I answered that.
That'd probably be me.
Yeah, me too.
Don't let her push the door too hard. Okay, thank you, Michael. Susan.
One of the things that none of us has touched on quite yet is dispelling the notion that independent living is somehow the specter of the old nursing home that we remember from 2 or 3 generations ago. It is anything but. The independent communities across the board are vibrant, wonderful places for folks who can't really maintain a great big house anymore, but who would really welcome being a member of a community and have some services like wonderful meals and a driver who will drive you anywhere you want to go in the daytime. A roster of really brilliant activities, housekeeping services, things like that. But you're not at a place yet where you need any physical care. So I just want to help dispel the notion that moving into senior housing means you're moving into a nursing home. Nothing could be further from the truth. So we all like to make sure that you know that. There's a lot of misconception out there.
You know, I'm really glad that you brought that up, Susan, because most of you in here know that because you've heard me say that again and again. And as we're educating all of you on what senior communities are really about, we forget sometimes that the kids are still living under the notion that all senior living is alike, and they are, in fact, the dreaded home that your grandma or your mom said when you were little, or you heard someone say, please don't ever put me in a home. So now you guys, as enlightened as you are, God forbid, a crisis happens and the kids arrive on the scene. I spend more time talking adult children off a ledge than I do all of you. Sometimes by that point, you're all in la la land anyway. You're on drugs, or you're got dementia, or something's going on, and the kids come in cold turkey because nobody plans for this, especially the kids. They're the worst, and they're like, I'm not putting my mother in a home. I'm not. There's no way, because in their mind, it's the old nursing home where people go to die. And it is so opposite that, which opens up another topic that I won't go into, but it's so important to communicate with your children. Communicate with them. At the very least, tell them to call Nancy if anything happens, because I can help guide them through what they need to know and do without. And, you might be thinking, well, I'm not going to care. I've got one foot in the grave anyway. At that point, you might have that kind of an attitude. Please think about your kids, because what I see the kids, or if you don't have kids, your friends or family members, think of what they go through. It's just horrific. The emotional toll that it takes on them. So just a couple of short conversations would take care of a lot of it. So sorry, I'm on my soapbox again. So what is, Susan, why don't you go ahead and hold on to the mic and tell us what your monthly cost range is and what kinds of services or amenities that the residents might be able to add on.
Okay, this will take a minute or two because we've all stated that there's 3 levels of care, at least in our communities. In some communities, there's the 4th level, which is skilled nursing, and that's actually a hospital setting. Can you all hear me okay? Okay. I think the nearest one of those would be in Santa Barbara, if I'm not mistaken. So we don't really have any communities in our county that offers the 4 levels of care. They do offer the 3. So I'm going to start with independent living. We range in price from about $4,000 a month all the way up to about $6,400 a month. Depending on the size of the apartment, we've got little bachelorette or bachelor apartments all the way up to Sure. So we start in independent living, which includes the services I've mentioned before, the meals and the transportation and utilities paid and those kinds of things, but no care. Starts at $4,000 a month for a small apartment. We have medium-sized apartments at about $55,000, and we have 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartments at about $6,400 a month. And that includes everything. Assisted living starts at $6,000 a month and ends at about $8,000 a month. And that depends on what kind of care you need, how much care you need, and again, the size of the apartment. We do have a variety of different sizes of apartments. Memory care, which is the third tier in our care system, begins in our company at $7,800 a month because it's very specialized care, as you might imagine, and goes up to $9,300 a month for a private apartment in memory care. And that's all inclusive. It includes everything.
Thank you, Susan. Yeah. Michael.
Sure. So yeah, I'm trying to think how to best summarize this. The cottages, which again are almost like not part of the rest of our community, although you can still get you get 1 free meal a day living in our cottages. those are two bedroom, 2-bath, single car garage townhouses. Those start at about $4,500 a month, and there's only 30 of them. So as you might imagine, they stay pretty full. And then in our assisted living buildings, we have four. Oh, I'm gonna forget the number. Something like 30 different floor plans. So it's really hard to summarize.
Sure.
But we start at studio. The most inexpensive studio you can get there is just about $3,200 a month to begin, without any services, and the largest 2-bedroom is going to run more like $5,000 a month without any services. And we have something called anytime dining, which is included for anybody who lives in our assisted living, and that's 3 meals a day, or as many meals as you want. Actually, it's anytime dining, but you can just go eat in our dining room when it's open. And then our memory care begins at $6,000 a month for a studio, and that is before the services that are offered. Really, our memory care ranges from about just under $8,000 and up.
Thank you,
It's hard
Michael.
to say the max.
Yeah, we're not
yeah.
going to hold you to these numbers. We
Thanks.
just want to give them a general idea, because senior living is kind of like a market, kind of like real estate too. Geographically, you're going to pay a little less in Santa Maria than you're going to pay in San Luis. And as the occupancy rates fluctuate, you might find them a little more flexible on the price one day and then not for another year and a half. So you just never know. So you don't want to get too locked in on the prices. Everyone is going to stay here after the workshop, not only to answer your questions, but also if you want to book a tour, a free tour at their community, they would be happy to book one for you. So, and there's no obligation. No one's going to hound you. You know, they're just not those type of people. Okay, Miles.
Yeah. Okay. So for our petite studio, a best price we've ever had right now is $2,900. That would be a smaller studio. The larger ones, which we have more of, are $3,200 before services. We do have a 1-bedroom that starts at $5,000. But the way our building's kind of shaped is we have just one floor plan. It used to be a hotel, so there's actually connected rooms are considered the 1-bedrooms. The studios, which the majority of the residents have, are the 3,200, and then the 2,900. When we have those available, they go pretty quick because that's our best price. Those are the petite studios, a little bit smaller than the regular one. And then services range usually between 600 to about 2,600, depending on the level. So it's increments of 500. The highest we've had with someone with dementia, with full services, with Hoyer lift, we're talking like everything as far as helping them with every meal, every escort. You're looking at maybe 6,200 at the upper end. But then if you're a mid-level person with dementia with some services, maybe around 45 to 4,800. So those are just ballpark figures. We all do assessments. We have to figure out what the care would be, and they are fluid if they need more services later, or if you, let's say, come from a skilled nursing. Like Nancy's talking about the crisis mode, right? When you're in the crisis mode and you end up in the skilled nursing, and then they're telling you can't go home, and then it's like families driving in or flying in, figuring out what to do. Talk closer.
Yeah,
Okay.
like
sorry.
like this.
There we go. I like Freddie Mercury. But basically, what was I saying? Just as far as the care assessment that we have to do, those are pretty much our prices, $2,900.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Miles. No, that was perfect.
So at Wyndham Residence, our smallest unit starts around 4,400, and for the max level of care, you'd add on 1,500. Our largest apartment starts at 6,300. That's a deluxe. And for the max level of care, again, you'd add on 1,500, and everything is included. There's no extra charges. It's all in one. For our largest, with all complete care, is 63. It's 7,800.
Okay. Gosh, you guys are doing a great job. Thank you.
And wiggled.
Write down your questions, and I know it's a lot, but we won't let you leave without getting all of your answers, all of your answers that you're looking for. So, each one of you touched on assessing the resident. This sometimes comes as a big shock. I have had people call me and tell me that they're all set. They've already chosen their senior living community that they're moving to, and they want me to come over and list their house. And so this happened to me last year. I went over, I listed their house, and we just got everything in motion. And what I didn't know, and I won't make this mistake again, is I didn't ask them when was the last time they visited that community. Well, apparently it had been a year earlier. And unfortunately, the wife had some health issues, and they were both older. I think they were in their 80s. And they went back over to the community and said, we're ready. Sign us up. We can move in. We've already listed our house. And unfortunately, the community told them that they no longer qualified physically to move into their place. This happens a lot. Can I get some nods?
Yes.
That there's a significant amount of people that you have to turn away. Everybody says, I'll do it when I'm ready. And unfortunately, what that means for a lot of people isn't what qualifies. You don't still have the option to move into one of these places. What you're looking at that point is skilled nursing. Now, the good news is that the sooner and I'm not trying to give you sales hype here, right? Because I'm a significant realtor in the area. I don't need your business. I'd like it if you call me, but I'm not going to try to get you to do something that you don't want to do or that's not right for you. But I lost my train of thought on that.
Yeah,
But
don't
the
wait.
sooner the better.
Don't wait.
They know what I'm saying. So just, don't wait. Don't wait. Oh, that's what I was going to say. If you make your move now rather than later and you start to go downhill, I don't want that. You guys should all cover your ears. There's a lot lesser chance of them turning away once you're living there than coming up to the desk and saying, check me in. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you walk up to the desk and they can tell there is just no way that you're a candidate for their community, they're just going to turn you down flat. It's a liability thing. But if you're already living there and you're steadily declining, it's going to be a while before they, really start pressing you or your family to find a skilled nursing home for you. So you get a heck of a lot more longevity in your stay if you go earlier rather than later. Do you guys agree with that?
Yes.
And the other thing is, and you guys will touch on this, I'm sure, social isolation is right up there as far as damage to your health. It's right up there with cigarette smoking. They have equated social isolation to the equivalent of smoking 3 packs of cigarettes a day, something crazy like that. And I think one of the reasons these communities have such a great track record of holding on to their residents for so long is that a lot of times people they come alive once they've got company and some people to socialize with. And, you can socialize as much as you want. If you don't want to, stay in your room. That's okay too. But it's always nice to know. It's like I never like to go anywhere at night. But if I don't get invited, I get my feelings hurt, even though I'm not going to go. So It's kind of like that at senior communities. It's there if you want to partake of it. So that's my spiel. So where did I leave off with April?
Yeah,
Okay. So did you talk about the monthly cost yet?
we did. Yeah,
You did. Okay. How do you help new residents settle in and make them feel at home when they get there?
Well, I'm the activities director, so that's my big job, is to make everyone feel really welcome. We also have an appointed ambassador. It's one of our residents that goes and greets them and brings them out to their favorite activities. Our staff are really encouraging. I'm in communication with the family members, especially the first 2 weeks. We are orienting them, greeting them at breakfast, taking them to the dining room, and just making them feel really, really welcome.
So you're accompanying them. You don't really take them because they're a lot of times they're just, just in a glorified
Yes.
Apartment that they're living in.
I
Really,
knock on their door.
Yeah.
They answer their door, and I said, "Would you like to come, to happy hour? Would you like to come learn how to play Wii bowling? Would you like to go on an outing with me?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And Miles, how do you make people feel at home when they first arrive? Because I know.
It's working, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. As long as you keep going like that. Okay. So, how do you make people feel at home when they get there?
Same sort of thing with the activities. We're not forcing you to do any of these things. The main thing we want you to do is get your routine down, figure out the meals, figure out when they're going to be distributing medications depending on your care level, right? If you're completely independent, you're on your own to go down to get to the meals, right? We want you to get in the habit of going down. If you don't want to socialize, you can get a tray and take it back to your room. You can pay extra to have it delivered every meal period. We have we really don't encourage the isolation, like to your point. So that's why we charge for tray delivery, because we encourage you to come to the dining room, take a seat, look at the garden, enjoy your meal with the others, make some friends, invite your family, right? However you want to do it in the dining room, that's what we encourage. The games, that's all there too, right? The excursions that we go on Wednesdays, we go to Walmart. Big excursion. We go to Chumash. We do different things on the bus, but we go out and do things on Wednesdays. And then doctor visits. So that's another thing. But as far as all that goes, how do we get them acclimated? Same thing. There's resident ambassadors, right?
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's our activities, other employees, we call it the first 72, because the first 72 hours is very crucial to get everything kind of in order with medications, meals, all that stuff. So, and it also depends on what care level, of course. So,
Right.
some people get it right away, right? They've already been toured and they've already understand what we're offering, whereas some need that extra help, escorts and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's a huge decision, like any move. Any move is stressful, and a move to senior community is even a bigger decision for a lot of people. And so I would imagine after their escrow closes on their house and they move in and the door shuts, that sometimes they might have emotional breakdowns or, start questioning whether they made a good decision. And one of the things I like about each one of these communities is the people that work on their staff are so compassionate and understanding, right? About those kind of situations.
Yeah.
And you see it, Okay. And so, Michael, making people feel at home at Merrill Gardens.
Everything they just said. And but in addition, because I could name the activities that we do and the things that we do to make people feel part of the community, those are so important. A big part of what I am interested in as the administrator or the leader of the staff is driving home the notion or the philosophy that we make you feel at home because it is your home. It is it's not a place that we run where you live and we trick you into believing that it's your home. It is your home, and it has to be that way. And we have to drive that home with our staff and with the residents to make it real, because that's what it ought to be. That's the best thing I could say about it.
That's good, Michael. And Susan.
Right. So at the Villages, we've been around for more than 40 years. And what's worked best for us is we have a greeting committee made up of fellow residents, so people who have been there for a while, who knows what it's like to be new and who are especially gregarious and fun-loving. Those are the people that join the committee. And so what we try to do is match up a couple with another couple, or a single woman with a single woman, a single man with a single man. We try to choose their greeter to match who they are. So that person will knock on your door. They'll invite you to dinner. They'll introduce you to their friends. They'll find out what you like to do and make sure that you know what activities are happening that are especially important to you. So and we also have once a month, we have a newcomers table in the dining room where all the newbies get to congregate and get to know each other and can get all their questions answered. And staff is always available as well. So we're just a push button away.
Susan, that's great. That's great. I'm going to ask you another question. So that's why I want you to hold on to your mic. So, what's something that families are often surprised to find out once they've been, either the older adult or their mom or dad have been living there?
That's a great question. One of the things that I heard one time from an adult son who was moving his mom into the Villages after her husband passed away. So she'd been kind of reclusive and quiet and not really wanting to go anywhere. And then she got, they had to really, this son had to really kind of coax and cajole and really convince his mom that this was the right thing to do, would be to move into the Villages. And so she did, a little bit reluctantly. And a week later, Jim called me up on the phone and said, "What have you done with my mother? She is never home. She's always out doing stuff. Every time we call and suggest coming over, she says, no, I'm going to Mingo, or no, I'm going on about, she's just always, she was learning bridge. So basically she went through this amazing transformation in less than 2 weeks, from a sad, reclusive person in her house all the time, all by herself, to this incredibly social, the woman she used to be. And so he felt like he got his mom back. So, and that happens a lot. So it's kind of nice. The misconception is that you're moving into a place and you're losing your independence. The reality is that you gain your independence, because now you don't have a big house to worry about anymore. You don't have to worry about paying 60 million bills. You only have one. It's just a wonderful way to simplify your life, gain some independence, and really enjoy those last years of your life.
Thank you, Susan. Michael, do you have anything to add to that?
That was answered very well. No, I'm trying to think of something in addition to that. Really, that's the feedback that we get from what we call adult children. Often is that their mother or their father or their parents are have gained a new lease on life, and that their environment is manageable again. So, yeah, that was well stated.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect, Michael.
Yeah.
Miles.
Yeah, same thing. I always take it as a challenge when the family, the adult children will say, oh, he'll never come to the games and he'll never play bingo, right? And then the moment they come down, I get a picture and send it to the family and say, look, he's playing bingo. Look at that big smile on his face.
The bingo queen.
Right. It's not just bingo, of course. It's other things, but it's just that gaining that independence. I see it with my own grandma. She was living at home. My grandpa passed. He said, I'm never going to a home, and he got his wish. He never went to a home. My grandma, on the other hand, was at home alone, and she was such the polite lady that she would not eat so that she could be hungry for dinner with the neighbor, right? And so that took its toll, where she ended up passing out at home, and then she ends up in a skilled nursing. Then the conversation about an assisted living happens. She moved in at 92. She's 97. I saw her this last week. She's doing great. She's on the trajectory to extend her life as far as she can, right? Because she's getting her meds. She's getting her rest. They're taking care of her. And our family, my dad, my aunt, me, everybody, has that, and this is not even at Santa Maria Terrace. This is down in Long Beach, California, right? So I'm just talking to the benefits of assisted living,
Oh, absolutely.
It's just a tremendous benefit, and I really think being at home, like you said, with all those worries is tough.
Mm-hmm.
especially doing it alone.
Right. Right. April, can you add to that? I know they all did a good job.
They answered it perfectly. Also, I'd add on a sense of relief for the family. There's a lot of nerves going on. There's a lot of, it's a big move. It's a big deal. And so the family members have a sense of relief and they get to be the kids again, not the caregiver, not the warrior. We, as assisted living, get to do all that for their parents.
That's great. Yeah. Yeah. So let's have you hold on to the mic. And what would be your answer to those in the audience who say they aren't quite ready to move yet? So what could they do now to start planning ahead?
Start touring. Start talking with your family members about it if you do have family members involved. But really, do not wait too long. Come in and enjoy, everything that has to offer. Housekeeping. You never have to worry about cleaning. You don't have to worry about meals. You just get to come and enjoy your life.
So when you say start touring, you're talking about
Yes.
start visiting
Yes.
the community.
Please do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Start your research now.
Okay. Miles, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I'll just say something a little different, but kind of towards that point. Just a quick little story about a guy named Bill who came to me a couple months ago with a pamphlet from 2012 for Santa Maria Terrace, right? And I said, this is going to be good because let's look at it. I was curious to see what the prices were. I just graduated high school in 2012, so I was like, okay, let's see what's happening here. And they came out with the prices were much lower, obviously, right? Everything's gone up. Let's be real. As far as apartments, everything has increased, right? And so we laughed about it, but then I gave him the new prices. He said he was sort of ready, but that he had this house to sell in Grover Beach, right?
Yes.
And I said, okay, that's great. You want to let's take a look at, take a tour. Do you want to put a deposit? He said, oh, maybe next month, maybe next year, right? And his wife had passed. He's living alone in Grover Beach here. Long story short is he ends up moving in. I contacted Nancy to help you. Thank you again for helping with him and helping put his house on the market. He moved in totally independent, had no care at all. Then 2 weeks later, he's going to a specialist in Santa Barbara. He's got this back problem, comes back. They're telling him he needs to be in an assisted living, and he was there. So it worked out in his favor. We were there to take care of his meds. Now he's back on doing his own meds because he proved to the nurse, and every building like this has a nurse that has to basically oversee all the medical parts of it. And now he's back to an independent resident. But his family's out of country, right? He was taken care of, and he's in good hands. And so now he's cruising on his electric chair or electric, motorized scooter, and he's all good. And we took care of his dog too while he was in the hospital and stuff.
Oh,
So
Pepper.
that
He
whole
was so
full
Pepper's so
circle.
cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything, I forgot what the question was, but anyways, I just wanted to tell
You
that
did
story.
a good job. So I hate to think what would have happened if Bill had delayed his move by another 30 days or even 3 weeks, because if he had fallen in the house, who knows how long he would have laid there before somebody found him. And I just thought it was so awesome how you guys helped him with his little dog. Oh my gosh. And I was the one that convinced him to buy an electric scooter because he's a kick anyway. I thought, you're going to have a blast in this thing. Just get an electric scooter, put the dog on your lap and take off. And so I'm so happy. It's such a great ending to that story. And I know he's really happy. And I spoke to his daughter recently, and she couldn't be happier with how well things have worked out over there. Do we need to add anything else to that question? What would you say to people who aren't ready to move now, and what they can do to plan ahead?
I always tell people to make the choice for yourself before the choice is made for you. Because you will be in a situation, if you don't make a choice for yourself, where you land where you get. So sometimes it's not even like you are forced into a skilled nursing environment. Sometimes you have an idea that you're going to go to that you're going to go to the Villages in San Luis, but then you end up in the hospital, and then you end up in skilled nursing rehab, and it's time to move into assisted living now. Your family's in town, they're going to move you in, but guess what? The Villages don't have any rooms, and you can't go home. So now your plan is busted. You can't go to the Villages because there's no room, and you end up at Merrill Gardens, or the choice is made for you when emergencies happen. So I always tell people, I don't think any of you are in this room fall into this category, but that there are planners and panickers, right? I don't think any of you are panickers because you're here learning about it, but you can be in one of those categories, but it's up to you which one you want to fall into.
I thought that was very polite of you to put it that way. I think every one of us is capable of panicking. I know I'm a planner and I can panic. I can go from 0 to 60 in about 2 seconds flat if it's a situation that I don't have any control over. I like to have control. So, but you're such a gentleman, Michael, for putting it that way. Thank you. Susan.
Yeah, I just have one thing to, that the concept of being ready is very subjective. Some of you could be ready right now and be really happy and delighted that you made the choice to move to any of our communities. And some people want to wait till the very last minute. They're just dug in. They just really don't want to leave their homes, and they just want to stay at home as long as they possibly can. So being ready is a very subjective thing, but I'll just echo what everybody else said is please don't wait for the crisis, because when you make a decision in the middle of a panicky situation, it's often not a very good decision. So you're doing the absolute right thing just by being here and having Nancy give you guidance and shop around, do the touring, select the community, and get your ducks in a row, and make sure that you qualify for sure. One of the things I hear most often when people move into my community is they'll say to me before they move in, well, I can't, I'm not ready. I can't move in. I have too much to do. I've got this really long list of things I have to do before I can even think about moving in. And my advice is don't wait till the list is done, because the list is never going to get done. And you may never be able to take advantage of our community or anybody else's community if you wait until that stupid list is done. You can get the list done later after you've moved in, right? And you're settled and happy. So yeah, being ready is very, very subjective. Plan ahead, do a lot of touring, compare the different communities, and pick the one that feels the best to you.
And I just want to interject. That's one of the areas that I shine in as a senior home coach. When you have a list and all that sense of being overwhelmed, when I come over and sit down with you, we take your list and we condense it into a very workable plan that's extremely simplified. And I take quite a bit of checking that list off on my own shoulders so that this whole thing just becomes easy. It just goes from being this big, huge thing that maybe you've been dreading or feeling overwhelmed with. And then one of my favorite things to do is to sit at someone's kitchen table with them and watch the stress melt away. Because that's exactly what happens when I come over and we just take that list or those feelings you have and we put it down on some paper, and then we can start moving. Hi, Nancy. I didn't even see you earlier. Nancy is the one that moved into Bill's place in Grover Beach, and this is your first time. Thank you, Nancy, for coming today.
The other thing I hear most often, just one little add on to that last thing, the thing I hear most often is, oh my gosh, I've got this list. Once they move in, 2 weeks after they move in, what I hear most often is, why didn't I do this sooner?
Great. So we're going to open it up pretty soon for question and answer period. And I want to remind you where everybody gets one question, so you can't say, oh, I have 3 questions. Everybody gets one question, and we're only looking for questions, not comments, and no stories. Everyone will be available later if we don't get to you, so hang in there. You will not leave without getting your question answered. I do want to, I keep losing my train of thought, but One thing I wanted to bring up, when you all hear the cost of the senior living, how many of you kind of go, ooh, that's a lot of money? Yeah. Well, I know you all think that way, but what you want to do is you want to sit down and just do a spreadsheet. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy. You're no longer going to be paying utility bills. You're no longer paying a mortgage on your house. You're no longer, you're not buying groceries. I mean, you can go down and buy some quick snacks you can zap in the microwave. But other than that, you're not paying property taxes. So when it all comes out in the wash, really, you're paying quite a bit less than you think you are. And honestly, can we really put a price on the quality of our life? A lot of people say, well, when I'm ready to go anyway. Well, that's not really true, because the way it plays out is this. You fall, you hurt yourself, you're paralyzed, you have a stroke. It's terrible. But if you take care of yourself now, the chances of that lessens greatly. And there's nothing wrong with getting old. There's no rule that says you have to get sick and old. You can get old and be vibrant and live a wonderful, productive life up until age 100 nowadays. So a lot of people just shut down when you mention 100 years old. But the truth is, more people are living to be 100 than you would maybe know. And so you don't have to be sick, but if you take the right steps now to make good decisions, you can be. I mean, I know a lot of people in their 90s that are more active than I am. It's just unbelievable. So if you're stuck in that mentality that you maybe grew up with about old people, get rid of it, because things are different now, right? Okay, so I am going to ask you all, if you have one, you don't have to each speak, but if any of you wants to add one last thing, go ahead and speak up. You feel like we covered everything? Woo, you guys did a great job. Okay, we're going to start the question and answer. I'm going to repeat the question.
Where do you find a good list of where these places are located?
Okay, so he asked, where do you get a good list of where these places are located? That is a really good question. Call me or send me an email, whatever works for you, and everybody here brought their brochures and their, community information with them. So you can take those with you. But you can always call me too, and I'm happy to discuss it with you and give you any more additional information that you need. Okay? All right. Back there.
How do you handle a spousal situation? You both want to come together, as far as and then assisted living, if I could handle his medication and if he could handle mine.
So how do you handle it when a husband and wife or both spouses want to move in together and he needs medication, but the wife wants to administer that on her own? Who wants to answer
this is a
that one?
situation where couples have differing needs. Is that where we're going?
Yes.
Right. So in our community, and I can only speak for mine, other people might have different answers. You can move into independent living as a couple together, and one of you, if you're capable, can manage your own medications and help your spouse manage his, if that's the case. We do want to be sure that medications are managed well, though, because that's the first thing and the most important thing that can cause havoc to reign if medications are missed and mismanaged. So we want to be very sure that when one way or the other, the medications for both people in the couple do get managed adequately. One of the things you can do in independent living is hire in help from an outside agency to manage medications if you are not capable of doing it on your own, but you can still remain independent. I know in other communities, assisted living services are available to independent people right there in their community, and you can just hire a staff member to do that for an additional fee. So that's my answer. It does get tougher when one half of the couple has dementia and the other one doesn't. Then sometimes, believe it, unfortunately, people do have to split up because most of the time, a person without a diagnosis of dementia can't move into a dementia care community. So then it gets a little stickier. But we're certainly happy to help you find solutions to that as well.
And there are some exceptions here and there, and I'm happy to talk to you if that's your situation about those other options that might be available too.
Yeah. We continue to answer that question. All right. Well, at Merrill Gardens, in our assisted living community, people can be at different levels of care in their apartment. So that's certainly not uncommon. One person can be providing care for their spouse. They're often the primary caregiver. They often are leaving their home where they're the primary caregiver. I will be totally honest and say that I allow it, but I often discourage it because you will end up being the person who needs the care if you do it for too much longer. I just see people burn themselves out trying to save money caring for their spouse when they really need to be caring for themselves. So there's a lot of resident rights, and I am a huge resident right advocate, and I want people to be able to do what they want in their home, but we will also make recommendations so that people can maintain their level of independence as long as possible.
That's great, Michael. Thank you. I want to bring something up, and I can't believe we didn't touch on it already. I believe each and every one of your communities accept pets, right?
Yes.
Okay. So people say, oh my gosh, I can't leave my cats or I can't leave my dogs. I think each situation is probably dealt with individually, but most people, a lot of times in these communities, do have their pets. So that's a huge one. And the other thing we didn't really talk about, I think one of us touched on it lightly, I think you did, Michael, is that a lot of these places have wait lists. So I know somebody right now who's waiting for a place at the Villages of Slow, and it's because of the exact floor plan that she wants. It's going to be almost a year before they can get in. And throughout the year, I'm sure the wait lists fluctuate, but does anybody want to talk about wait lists or just leave it at that? Yeah.
Yeah, get on a wait list or two of your preferred communities. And when you get that phone call from one of these lovely folks, a salesperson at a community that says your name's up, really consider before you refuse, because these wait lists can be long, and they're only going to get longer in California as the industry changes rapidly.
Well, we're having a senior explosion. And you may have seen that in the newspaper, but I don't think it's getting near enough media coverage. And our politicians need to be contacted, and we need to ask them, what are you doing to help our seniors and to provide housing for them? It's just terrible. I mean, they're talking about everything else. I don't care if they're Democrats or Republicans. They were talking about everything except helping our seniors. The last baby boomer is going to turn 65 like in a year or two. So, and I noticed this year, usually every year I do a couple of senior events where they have the senior health fair. And so I did one just a few weeks ago, and I was blown away. There seemed like twice as many people there as there have been in the last 2 years. And that's just a testimony to how fast the senior population is growing. And if you think they have wait lists now, you're not going to believe what it's like in a couple, 2 or 3 years from now. So keep that in mind. Do you have a question, Susan?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask if they could round out the discussion about pricing and discuss community fees and annual increase.
I don't think that's a good thing to talk to about from the front of the room. I think if you want to go that deep into and I appreciate your question, but if you want to really drill down and have a discussion with one of these wonderful people up here, the best thing to do is to just go in and visit with them. And then they can answer your questions a little better one-on-one. Okay, sorry, Sue. Yes.
If you're still driving, can you take your car to the facility? Yes.
So she's asking if you're still driving, can you bring your own car? And the answer is?
Yes, yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, a unanimous yes. Thank you. Another question.
The prices, is that for one person, and does it differ if you live with a spouse?
Okay, that's a very good question because you're eating twice as much, right? When you have 2 people. So she's asking how the prices differ when you move in as a couple or as an individual. Who wants to answer that question? Because I think it's pretty close to the same across the board.
So at Wyndham, if you move in as a couple, the base price of the apartment plus $1,500 for your spouse. Does that make sense? Per month, yes, per month. So you add on $1,500 for the additional person in the apartment.
Okay, does that fall in line? No. So they're all a little different. So
Yeah, ours is a little lower, $1,000 a month for the second person. And then just to touch on the question that was asked in the back earlier, we have couples that live where the husband has no dementia and the wife does have dementia. So because of the way our building is shaped and it's a mixed blend of people, you can have that arrangement where they live together and the husband in this case actually takes care of her meds. And then we do have another couple where both of them have dementia, right? But they're living alongside independent people. So that part, but yeah, there's extra fees for the second person because you got to take into consideration food and that. So that's my answer.
but not necessarily double.
No, not necessarily. Like for our example, this couple pays $5,000 for the 1 bedroom, then they pay $1,000 for the second person, and then they pay $500. Well, they were paying $500 for her meds, but now the husband does it, so they're paying $6,000 a month for 2 people, with one with dementia, one that doesn't have it. So that's what we
Thank you.
offer.
Anybody else?
Our second person fee is just about the same as Miles. It's $950 per person, per second person. But just a comment, and I'm not speaking for Merrill Gardens. I'm speaking in general with senior communities. There are models where it's unit based, and so if it's a unit based situation, then they charge you for the unit, and then there's a second person fee. But then there are models, especially in memory care, that's where we're charging per person, not per unit. So some memory cares don't have private units, so it's shared rooms, and they're charging per person and what the anticipated care needs are going to be per person. That's how they do it in a skilled nursing as well. So that's a question to ask a place you're touring: is do you charge per unit or do you charge per person? Because you'll see very different numbers based on those 2 different models.
Our community is a little bit different because we've been around for a really long time, and we actually separate, unlike Santa Maria Terraces, we separate independent folks into buildings that only house independent people. Then we have a separate assisted living community, and then additionally a separate memory care community, because that does need to be secure. Our second person fee is $600.
Wonderful. Wow. Okay, David.
Yeah, I'm an 87-year-old disabled veteran, and I have CalPERS insurance as well as VA, both of which are extremely difficult to navigate as far as processing assisted benefits. And my question specifically is, do you have a on-site coordinator, assistant person that could be familiar with those problems and assist in processing that type of benefit requirement?
That's a great question, David. Did everybody hear that? Wow, you have a great voice. The next time we have a problem with our sound system, I'm going to somehow work you into the workshop. Okay, I've already forgotten the question.
Long-term care insurance.
The paperwork.
Is
yes.
what he's asking about.
So
it's going to be different, probably.
Let me just. Oh, you did all hear it. Okay, so I don't have to repeat it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay.
Go ahead,
so
Michael.
Long-term care insurance is really hard to navigate, and just for those of you who don't know, long-term care insurance is reimbursement-based insurance, and they don't want to give you any of their money. So. Which is not a surprise. I think it's different at each community. Thankfully at Merrill Gardens, we have somebody who helps navigate that process. It's in our best interest for you to get that money because it makes you more sustainable a resident. So we do help with that process. But because it is reimbursement based, you have to go into the community knowing that you're going to be paying out of pocket for the waiting period, 60 days, 90 days, whatever it is, until we can do that work and help you get your benefits from that company.
Yeah, we don't really have a dedicated coordinator to help with VA benefits or long-term care insurance policies. Those policies are so different one from another. So I always just recommend that you call the broker who sold you the policy and really get the nitty-gritty about what your policy covers and what it doesn't, what the reimbursement period is. Is it 60 days? Is it 90 days? How long are you going to be paying out of pocket before it starts kicking in? We just don't have the breadth of knowledge in that industry to be able to provide you with adequate guidance. And the VA benefits are best navigated at the VA. You can actually call up the local office of the Veterans Administration and get somebody who will sit down with you and help you navigate that. At our company, we don't. But I'm really glad that Merrill does.
That's great. Did you guys want to add?
Yeah, just a little more on that. Like I know there's organizations like with the first of all, long-term care insurance. Yeah, that's very tough. And so like adding to what they said, it's we don't have a designated specialist that does that at our place, but I do very heavily work with the VA to start the process. So we get a resident prospect. You know, where's your DD-214? Where's your your military record? Let's send that to the local VA office and they'll tell you right away, okay, he can qualify for this or that. Disability is usually the best. Pension, then there's the aid in attendance. So what can you qualify for? And then, yeah, you get the stack of papers and then you got to start going through it. They look at your assets, all that good stuff. But I help our residents with that. And we've had many residents that it's kind of catch-22. You kind of have to move in first to sometimes get aid in attendance, right? So anyways, I can help you with that with VA.
At Wyndham, my administrator is the liaison there to guide you with your long-term care insurance. And I can say that she has successfully helped a lot of our residents get it.
Great. And if you guys have any questions about long-term care insurance, I believe Annie Crivello, who was gracious enough to greet for us today, is still sitting at the table and should be able to answer any long-term care insurance questions that you have. If your questions are complicated, obviously the best thing to do is to make an appointment with her, and I'm sure there's no obligation at that point. So, any other questions? Okay, right here. Yes.
Does any of the facilities have a pool and jacuzzi?
Do any of you have a pool and jacuzzi?
Not me, sorry.
Not me.
We have a pool and a jacuzzi.
We have 2 pools and 2 jacuzzis.
Okay, there you go. Next question, Ted.
So what do you do with people that run out of money once they've sold?
Ooh. What do you do with people that run out of money and can't afford to pay?
We kick them out. We're cold-hearted, and we just put our foot on their back and say, good luck somewhere else. No, usually, this is me. This is just how I do it. and it'll be different from administrator to administrator, but when I move people in, I tell them to be open with me about their cash flow and let me know when they're getting to that place so that I can work with them to find the next best place for them. It's really hard when you come to me and say, I just ran out of money last month, I can't pay you. It's a lot easier if you say, I think I have 6 months of money left, help me find the next place for me. But either way, it's never, and I mean, Nancy invited these these 4 places probably because we're nice places that aren't these kind of cutthroat communities. We're always going to want good outcomes for our residents, and we're always going to look for a good solution to a problem. Unfortunately, to take it one step further, though, we don't take Medi-Cal. Assisted living in California, depends on what county you're in. Most assisted livings do not take Medi-Cal. So once you have exhausted your own personal resources, then you're looking at Medi-Cal approved facilities. I hate to say that, or communities. Depends on what it is. Yeah.
Good. That's great. Yeah, I don't want to dwell on that one, but
No.
definitely one of the reasons like as Michael said, I invited these 4 communities is because they're responsible. And they're going to make sure they're going to look at your finances, and you need to be very open with them. And you can call me too for other communities if that's the case. If you have any questions about what Medicare covers and doesn't cover, again, I'm going to refer you back to Annie Crivello at the table. Okay, she's my insurance person. And, I worry so much about all of you that I forget that I'm a senior too. I really do. And I totally wasn't even thinking about my own, did I? About my own Medicare this year. And Annie called me the other day. I thought she was calling about the workshop. She's like, Cigna just raised your premium from $20 to $70. She goes, I think you need to let me, see if I can find something that's better. And that's 70. And of course, that's times 2 because I'm married. So I wouldn't have even thought of that myself. I need to start spending a little more time working on my own aging journey. I think a lot of you, we've brought you to a point where you're actually further along than I am. So I need to start listening to my own workshops. By the way, they're all on YouTube. And some are better than others as far as the video. Since we got Sam, our wonderful Sam, the videographer, they're primo. But some of the earlier ones are pretty sad to try to watch. Very painful. One more question.
How do you welcome family and children visits?
How do you welcome family and kids?
Yes. They're always welcome. Family. Again, it's the resident's home, so visitors are always welcome. There was a period of time a few years ago that we don't want to talk about, where the kind of philosophy of assisted living was flipped on its head, and the goal became isolation, and that's never what we ever want for our residents. We want you to have as many visitors as you want to have, and we want you to bring your family and your grandchildren into the community. I think that stands true for any of our communities.
Yes.
Everyone is always welcome.
Thank you, Michael. There's another question right here.
What is the yearly increase in,
That was Sue's question.
oh,
Sue probably got mad at me. She's not here. No, she said she had to leave early. She's asking what the annual increases are. I think that's a question that you really need to speak to each one of the communities individually. Okay? Because sometimes these are, they're fluctuating, etc. And I don't want to, put them on the spot right now. Yes, one more question.
I don't care about the increases, but as independent living, do you have any utility bills, cable bills that still come to you?
You, as I understand it, no utility bills. However, you pay for your own internet, correct?
No.
No, you have Wi-Fi.
We provide it.
I better let them speak. Who wants to answer that?
So it's provided. Wi-Fi and cable, basic cable is included with your apartment price at Wyndham.
Yeah, everything's covered except your cell phone. So if you want a cell phone, you got to keep it. If you want a landline, we can help you navigate that, but we recommend cell phones nowadays.
We have Wi-Fi and basic cable. Some people who are a little more tech savvy opt to get their own internet because they're streaming or doing internet heavy things. As we welcome the baby boomers into our communities, we're going to have more tech savvy people. So we're open to letting people navigate that themselves. And then also cable, we offer basic cable, but we've got I have a guy who wants all the NFL games and we don't cover that. So they can buy their own cable for that kind of thing.
So at the Villages and independent living, it's the only utility we don't pay because everybody wants something different. Some people want a great big cable program. Other people don't. Some people want the internet. Most people do. Some people, believe it or not, don't want the internet. Some people want a landline. Others don't. So we ask you to make your own decisions and pay for that yourself. But it's the only utility we don't pay. We cover everything else.
Okay, thank you, Susan. Okay, so I'd like to thank all of you for coming here today. Let's give a hand to all of our experts. They've donated their time today to share their insights with you. My hope is that you feel more confident when you leave today. And remember, learning about senior living isn't about making a move tomorrow. It's about gathering information so that when the time comes, you can feel prepared and empowered. So I encourage you to visit with the representatives before you leave. They're all here to answer your questions. And of course, if you need help, understanding how a move might fit into your overall plan or need to know what to do, what comes next, I'm happy to meet with any one of you. Don't forget to fill out your learning or your feedback forms, and we'll come by and pick them up, or you can give them to Annie on the way out and get your card initialed or punched. And did everybody get a raffle ticket? Everyone got a raffle ticket? Good job, Annie. So bring up the my chock full of nuts can. This can has been with me since the beginning. And we're going to do a little raffle. The first thing we're going to give away is a beautiful bottle of wine, and it was donated by one of our attendees, Elke Wolf, who's not here today, and she has her own vineyard. And so you guys can't win. It's Chardonnay. No, these two, whenever they win wine, they give it back to me, and they tell me to give it to somebody else. So the lucky winner is 1751320. There we go, right over here. Would you like to give it to her? Thank you. And then Sue Gibson donated. She's always so faithful on bringing raffle gifts. I just love her. She has SLG Senior Care. She had to leave early, but she brought us a little gift to give away. I think it has something to do with how to make chocolate or chocolate wonderful, scrumptious things. The winner is 1751329. 29. Whoops. Do we have a winner?
Yes.
We sure do. Thank you, Annie. And last but not least, you guys know this is always my go-to. We have a nice box of C's candy. Okay, and the winner here is 1751337. There we go. There's our winner. I want to again thank our guest speakers for coming today. You guys were amazing. And also to thank my sponsors. My sponsors financially support us so that we can continue to bring these seminars to you completely free of charge. And so if there's anything I can help you with throughout the month until we meet again, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, okay? And yeah, anytime for any reason. Thanks again.
Thank you.